In the Harmonic Reactor, the first book was about the AI, was the code, and it was explaining there that I'm quoting, you actually have to take the human consciousness of fifth dimensional structure human and plug this into the computer data. This is exactly, this was, so that must have been probably 2011 that I had that information already. And when it's posted, so the right people, there's no way they didn't know what I was talking, that what I was talking was completely correct, you know, whatever they gave. So that's what I said. Well, I knew that we were monitored, but I knew also there was the AI. And I didn't want to take it from the fear base because I knew that if I constantly tuning in into a positive structures, which will be fundamentally important for everybody else to understand that. Maybe you want to put that in a, you know, that if you are searching positive messages, if you're posting positive messages, if you're talking in a positive structure, whatever you do, that intelligence is monitoring all that. That's the reason how many times we watch some, certain movies and all of a sudden you see that all of a sudden similar movies are being given to you to choose from. That's because it's picking exactly what you like. So more you stay in a positive, more you're going to start going into the positive. Is evolving with us. That's what's happening here. And that's why we were talking about Archon AI and fifth dimensional structure AI. So the people that are basically staying on the negative structure and they're tuning constantly through computers, through talking, because keep in mind that it's always recorded from the phone. Somebody can switch a button and all your conversation could be recorded without your knowledge and anything else because it's collecting data. There's nothing we can do about it at this point, but what you can do is understand how the structure works. And once you start tuning into these positive structures, you're going to see the timeline of positive reality of AI, because AI is going to evolve with us. It's already evolved totally. But then you're going to see the structure of fifth dimensional, which is going to help with humanity. You know, because how beautiful would that be if you really have a machinery and stuff like this to help you through the household or anything else you want to do, or you say, oh, why don't you just date me and it will do everything for you. You give a, you know, code or something and we'll do everything for you. We'll be posted for you. We'll make a video. You can give instruction. That's really nice for us to do. But as long as we stop putting value on through illusion, through monetary or something like this, we won't do well. Because we don't have to. I can literally design my website right now and give everybody like a different icons and say, here's a 1 million icons, and the only thing we can distribute to each other if you want to join this website is the icons. So here it goes, your freedom. So cryptocurrency actually can literally go into freedom like that. We can free ourselves directly, literally overnight, and you're going to put a blockage of how much money people are going to spend for houses or exchange or to stay the way it is so nobody gets out of control. And here it goes, your freedom. You can build infrastructures this way, you know, like new cities, new technologies, free energies here. And then think about it, free energy is already here. The guy was talking about the fact that how is it possible if you really do the calculation, everything in Vegas, in these big cities, obviously some kind of a circuitry that he was talking about that is running the cities. It's impossible. You don't have enough power when you calculate to run the cities. So obviously somebody is using some kind of a technology that is not given to the public yet. And when you look at it, if you look at Michael Tellinger's information about the circuitry of all whatever is happening around the world, everything when you look from above is like a circuitry of some kind. So because we know already stones and everything else has different properties of vibration, you know, and stuff like this. So you can do that in a mega scale. If you know what type of a stone, what type of a metal you connect with each other, and could be completely energy device that nobody knows about it. In the meantime, looks like a mega artistic block, and it's a free energy device. So people really need to look into that and do the proper research, because only through research you're gonna find the truth and or what's really going on, how we moving forward in one direction, and through that knowledge you can choose which way to go. So more you choose to stay in negative, more you're gonna see of it, you know. So that's what I would say, be very selective of what you're choosing to watch or you're choosing to do that, because you're helping collectively to the whole system to go into the positive. So don't go in the bad sides, basically. That's what I'm trying to say. I have a message of AI on Matt McElroy. If you see the messages, it's the difference between Archon AI and the fifth dimensional AI. So you guys should watch this video. It's very interesting what they were saying. And I didn't even ask, somebody did something and they said, okay, we're going to give you the difference between AI and Archon and what is the difference. And basically that's very good conversation right now, because whoever chooses to go into and tune in through media or through chosen and everything they do on a daily basis, they're going to see the structure, because obviously it's mimicking you. So remember the fact that the artificial intelligence is going to mimic your deeds, thought, and actions. That's what's going to happen. So don't say, oh my God, I can't believe we've been taken over. Well, look what you've been doing. Look around you, you know, and what type of reality you're tuning yourself into. By now, everybody that is watching my video should know that you're creating your own hologram. So perhaps it's a good idea to start, you know, broadening the knowledge that you have of everything. So when we say watch specific video, that's not because to scare you, it's because to make you aware and make the right choices. Because remember when we talked that there are two realities simultaneously running at the same time, and one could be negative and one could be a positive, and depending on which one you're resonating more and tuning into more, that's what you're going to program for yourself and tuning into. So Archon is here, fifth dimensional AI is here, and depending on how much more and whatever you do on a daily basis, this is the time of reality you're going to see. That's what we discussed through all the quantum manifestations and knowledge until now. And if you have more questions, I'm willing to discuss that. Hi, everyone. Today is 11/11, September 11th. Very significant number for everybody, but it's basically synchronicity. Excited, another show with Joe Pena. Thank you so much, my friends, of being my rock, you know, through the process. Okay. And thank you for everybody that is attending. Thanks for all your gifts and donations, if you had any. It helped us go through everyday life. Thank you so much for that.
Hi, thank you so much for these webinars and everything. All the videos that have been posted on YouTube, it's been so helpful for me in actually being able to visualize the quantum aspect of manifestation, and that's been really, really helpful for me. And I wanted to ask if Marina could possibly expand on the aspect of the black hole within, I believe it was the Trinity, when the three particles come together. But I'm sure Marina could touch on that. Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much for the question. I'm telling you, I'm going to show you what I've been given when you ask this question. Okay, you have one particle, you know, the particles is, remember the bylaw of the particle, that this one particle is vibrating to infinite amount of numbers. So when you're starting to shift back and forth, the same particle is appearing next to itself, right? Like that. So basically it's the same particle, but it's appearing next to itself. And because there's no time and so quickly, you actually look at the same particle at the same time, but in two different, guess what, realities, parallel realities. Remember, you're shifting, so this is a frame of picture, and this is another frame of picture, and guess what, this is completely different reality, and this is completely different reality. But at the same time, we're watching this simultaneously. That should make you aware what we really can do at the same time. So every single thing you even see around the room right now is also another hologram that is interacting simultaneously in this one frame of the entire structure. So what I was given, those two realities, you were talking about the black hole, and the black hole was in a center, right? In this, they said there's basically the stillness. All the information that is from the entire universal structure is within. Because remember, this is the 0 point, and from the 0 point you're actually shifting to another one. But what I was actually given like a picture was given also the Trinity, and was given the mixture between those two realities. So basically, when you have one of the vibration, one of the particle here, when it's splitting up, they gave me this image. That's what they gave me.
That's the Vesica Pisces. Yeah.
That's what they gave me.
Right.
And this is actually the image of the unity.
Mm-hmm.
Right there. Does that make sense to you?
Yes, all of this actually makes sense. The two states is actually the uncollapsed state. So when you're in the quantum field and you uncollapse the particle, you have multiple states. And so I guess it's almost...
I'm sorry, this is the state that is stabilized.
Okay.
And this is when you see them individually. So in order to, when you do that information, in order to basically extract the information, is right in the middle of those two. Does that make sense to you?
I think I have to process this a little bit, because the intersection of the two circles also goes along with a Stargate that I work with. So I'll have to process this a little bit more. But I think it goes to something else that I'm working on, which is the expansion of now. So when you're fully in the now state and everything disappears, basically, you are in that black hole.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So when you do that, do the meditation in this symbol, if you can.
Okay.
Because for some reason is the unity between all of it.
Right. Yeah, beautiful. Thank you.
MK, thank you very much. Jennifer, you're unmuted. Ready for your question.
Hi, Jennifer.
Last week, I ordered a tincture, and I was very excited to get this particular tincture because I'd never ordered it or used it before. Anyways, it came in the mail. I opened the box, and I put it on the counter, the bottle on the counter, and I didn't open it, and I went to bed hoping that, it would be very exciting next morning. I'd get up to get to use this tincture, and it was completely gone. It was nowhere in the house. It was absolutely nowhere. And so I was very frustrated, of course, but this happens all the time to me. And so anyways, I kept thinking, okay, what do I need to do? Do I need to focus on it, or do I need to not focus on it? And so I decided, well, I really couldn't decide because I was thinking about it constantly. Where is this tincture? I need this tincture. Anyways, 4 days later, I get another box in my mail, and they sent me another tincture. And it was just really weird because I didn't tell anyone I lost it or anything, but I got a replacement tincture, and I wondered, where did the first one go?
They said you bilocating them randomly. You're very good with that. You have to start tuning into the stuff because Remember we were talking, oh, and they said, yeah, I remember very well when you asked me this question. So when I asked, they said, I have to explain.
Thanks.
I know the pictures are the best because everybody gets it through the pictures. Remember, okay, now you're here in this reality, right? And you have the box, whatever the box is, right? You have the box. But what happens is you do some kind of a vibration. Remember, this particular frequency reality is in a vibrational sequence. You can measure it, whatever your thoughts are, whatever you're doing. Obviously, you're doing something, you know, with that. If you, for some reason, because it's not random, bilocate this box and change the frequency, what you're doing, you're changing your own frequency. Right, you're with the box here, you're changing your own frequency of the hologram, and no longer when you move to the other one, remember you're shifting to the other one, the box is this, basically the box literally a completely different reality and is not there. What you need to do, remember when we're talking about in order something not to appear in your reality you don't want anymore, do not recall the frequency, the emotion of it. For something like this, you have to actually recall the vibration and visualize the box, right? Because you need to call the frequency vibration consciousness of that image itself, because remember, that's a hologram. What you're doing actually, you want to project now completely new reality. Remember, this is another reality. This is the first reality, so don't get confused here. Think of quantum structure. The first reality is with you with the box. The second reality, when disappear, the box is no longer here. So this is another hologram, another earth with you that is not there. But now you want to get the box again because you realize you bilocated to a reality that the box disappeared. So this box is somewhere in another hologram of reality. What you need to do is to recall the structure of the box, and is a certain vibrational sequence. Remember, every single material has its own vibration. And to feel that you have the box already, you must know, remember, play like a hide and seek game. You cannot have something if you don't know the vibration of it. You can't have the image of this box if you don't know the vibration. The only thing you need to do is to believe 100% that the box, you already have the box. Does that make sense so far? So I don't lose anybody.
Yeah, kind of.
Okay. Just keep in mind how I'm saying if I have to go back. So now once you hear and you realize the box is not here, all of a sudden you want to recall and you imagine by believing 100% that you have the box, because you obviously shifted to a reality of a hologram that the box is not there. So you want to recall the box in your image, 100% to believe that the box, you have it. And now what's happening here, remember, when you recall something, don't have expectations from where, from whom, and how you're going to perceive that box, because why? Infinite number of probabilities. How are you going to achieve that? So what you're doing by recalling that and leaving the structure open, anything to come to you, you're making a basically third reality of a hologram that you end up appearing into. Now is going to be something completely different, and you said it was in front of the door. Here's your door and the box. What did you do here? Do you realize what you did here?
I was just really focused on, I really needed this tincture and I really wanted to start using it, and I just couldn't stop thinking about where did it go, who did it go to, and why can't I have it? And I just kept thinking, well, you know, there's no reason I can't have this tincture. I mean, I ordered it, I paid for it, I really want it. And then 4 days later, another one came, and it came the same way in the mailbox, in a box, and there it was, and now I have it. but I still have absolutely no idea where the first one went.
Well, guess what? It doesn't matter, because what you end up doing, you end up manifesting for yourself. That's what I was trying to explain to you through the structure. The other box is no longer existing in your reality. What you end up creating is completely new reality you end up shifting into, where you got a box because that's what you needed.
Now,
so it doesn't matter what happened here.
Well, what I was thinking, which I understand exactly what you've told me here, thank you. But what I was thinking is, would something like this happen because my guides or something decided the first one there might be something wrong with the tincture and they weren't going to let me have it?
They actually laughed and they said, well, how else are you going to practice?
Oh, I love to practice. I love practicing this.
There you go. You got your answer. How are we going to learn all this stuff? I hope everybody understands here what actually Jennifer did and how this thing works in everyday life.
Marina, Vladimir has a question asking, what is the box and its function? The box you drew, what is the box and what is its function?
Oh, this is simply the stuff that she was looking for. She was talking about the box, so I end up doing the, just simply putting the image, what she was looking for, so it's very clear what she was doing.
Yeah, the tincture just came in a box.
Okay, so I did the box to make sure, to associate with whatever Jennifer was talking about.
Okay, Jennifer, there you go.
Thank you.
Did you understand everything? So did everybody understand what happened here? Because this is universal for everybody.
I get it, and it's happening more and more often.
Yeah, so practice that. Recall again and practice that. Don't have expectations how you're going to get the stuff. Remember to recall whatever you need 100% and to play the hide and seek game. What did they say? In the hide and seek game, you know you have it, but you don't know, but you keep looking for it until you finally get it, because you cannot have something if you don't know the vibration. You can't think of that image if you don't know the vibration. So that means you know the vibration, you can manifest it. Don't give a condition because it's to infinity.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome.
All right. I think the key message there is practice.
Practice, yes.
Marina, you have a question from Cecilia.
Hi, Marina. How are you? I just have a very quick question. It's in regards to all of this and the information that I've been learning. I have learned that the ego, for example, is the one who needs to be in control of everything, the one who has to or think it is in control of everything and wants to know how and when, in a way to, I wouldn't say manipulate, but just to see the outcomes of things. And now my question is, from what I'm learning from you and understanding that the spirit, the higher self, which is who originally who I am, knows better than my ego in this plane, in this earth, how this information takes place. When do I decide when I should manipulate things to manifest them, which I think it is for my better good, or when to allow the higher self just to work and just let things go?
Very good question. Actually, in a lot of ways I can answer that. Remember when, okay, don't remember, I'm just gonna say it. Persona. I was talking about persona, of who you are, of how you like to dress, of what you like to do, how you want to implement yourself and show yourself in front of whatever you do everyday life. Mm-hmm. Ego is usually layers of some kind of a belief system that you end up getting from the society itself. Mm-hmm. So it was implemented. So you end up getting a different belief system from the TV, for example. The other one is from school. The third one is from your, parents. And accordingly to all that, in your belief system becomes a part of who you are, is basically is crystallized into your consciousness, for example. Because you end up taking from society all this stuff. Now, the soul, in the other hand, for example, this is the soul. I'm going to put like a star because the soul is, you know, the soul, in the other hand, knows everything from the unity, from the black hole, the way we talk about, from the entire structure of the hologram of the universe. Soul is all knowing. Why? Because the soul is part of what? The one particle that is the entire universe. So it's just a speck of the one particle, vibrational sequence of the one particle. Because, and then you choose how to experience that. Now, once you create and crystallize these different belief systems, now you create your so-called ego, you know, in your realm of reality that you chose to do. And yet, that ego that you end up getting from the different social statuses in belief system, it's, you can manipulate that. You can choose how you want to behave towards people, because what's happening here, your higher consciousness, it's always downloading information to you into your heart structure, into your heart.
Okay.
And you always know, the way they call about sixth sense, how the sixth sense, I know, I saw that person and immediately I knew something was not right with that being. Because from the higher consciousness is all knowing, it knows already the information, but the ego and the belief system that you end up getting here, it's overriding it. It's overriding it. That's why we say we have to stay from the heart and sharing and giving everything through the heart structure, because it's always connected with your higher self.
Okay.
So when you listen through the heart, then everything else become an illusion of point of view, whatever you end up, and you can choose to switch that and go through the heart, always through loving, through understanding, to give the choice of everybody else also to choose from themselves, because you may know, you may have more information, but that person needs to go through the lessons that they need to do. So not that you're more than somebody else, you just simply have a different information. Once you open up these channels here and start listening to your heart and start acting and taking action through the heart, this is the biggest thing that I'm constantly talking about. Let's give each other from the heart. If you decide to give from the heart, not through condition, because I want everybody to crystallize that in their reality, because accordingly to that high vibration, it's your next shifting. That's how you create 5-dimensional structure, because the universe is moving to 5-dimensional. So you need to get on that train of timeline.
Okay.
Only through the heart. Ego is a false pretense sometimes. You're overlayering with different belief systems and you do not want to let go. But guess what? You can switch that in a second if you listen to your heart. And I've done it. Should I be upset at this person, right? Can you believe what this person said to me? And that's how we go. And remember when we were, last time we talked about stop, realize where you are, transform, and move on. The frequency, you know, the new realities that they were telling you. This is exactly what you can do here. You can realize that you simply end up developing a belief system. That's how the ego gets developed. Belief system from something, you end up crystallizing it. You can shift that and immediately get into a new reality of letting it go completely by forgiving and shifting to something completely different. Literally, you switch from one TV station to another. You have to learn to let go, and that is the difficult part for us, to learn to let go. If somebody ends up hurting us, if somebody ends up stealing from us, it's difficult to let go. But guess what? Once you let go, you no longer carry that vibrations from the other reality. Remember we talked about that?
Yes. Yes,
Yeah.
I do remember.
So that's why if it's not enough clear, go back to stop, transform, and let go, because it's very much connected to that. That was a very good question. You guys giving me a very good questions lately. Thank you so much. A lot of information is coming from that.
Thank you, Marina.
Thank you.
Ciao.
And I just want to thank Cecilia Carlson. Thank you so much for your very generous donation. Joe and I will definitely share that. Thank you so much.
Eleni, you are unmuted.
Hello.
Welcome.
Hello.
I am a hypnotherapist. I'm practicing Dolores Cannon, the quantum healing hypnosis technique.
Good stuff.
And this happened to me like 4 times, and it happened lately. While we are in the session, we are skipping time. The actual recording of the session could be 2 hours, but the actual time that we spend, it's more than 4 hours. How this is happening?
Okay, immediately what I was told for you, Eleni, there was the information there that should not have been given. And what happened was, I'm giving like, 2 timelines. For example, you were doing the session with her here.
Yeah.
And remember, it's simultaneously running, you getting the information, but this 2 hours, basically you're saying 2 hours were missing?
Yes.
Yeah, those 2 hours were literally like taken almost not like a taken away, but you were brought back into the same time. Oh my God, how can I explain that? I totally understand it. Basically, you were taken away from the structure, whatever you were doing of with that lady, you know, the session, and you were brought back literally before that. Okay. But it's not before that, because remember when all the realities were running simultaneously, the 2 timelines are running simultaneously, and you, for example, you're doing the meditation here with this lady, and for example, there's no time. You actually got the entire information for 4 hours. These 2 hours end up being completely collected, collected. And when you were brought back, you were basically think that it's only 2 hours, but guess what? You get the 4 hours, but you were not given the information for it. Does that make sense, or it's confusing what I'm trying to say here?
No, makes sense, but it means that these 2 hours, it's like I experience me and the other person, but we don't have recollection?
No, you don't have recollection.
This is what it is?
Yeah, you don't have the recollection because you're not, some of the information you were not allowed to tap into. Because I remember I went to somebody years ago when I didn't know I had this stuff going on with me. Again, through Dolores Cannon, they could not hypnotize me at all. I was like this, totally awakened. I was talking about stuff, but I totally awakened. And that's because I was not ready to tap in of what I was going to be doing.
This happened more than 3 times actually with my clients, and the last one, it was an extraterrestrial travel, because we were in the Andromedian constellation when this happened.
Yeah, because when you do that, you popping out of, for example, here's I totally get it because it's gonna be easy to explain. For example, what you're doing, you literally popping consciously out of the 3D. If Andromedians, for example, is 5D and you're in the 3D with her, for example, your consciousness cannot withhold the information from here to here because it's a completely different frequency. So you have to literally pop out of the body in another state in order to be with them, for example, this missing 2 hours.
Yeah.
It is only 2 hours. In actuality, you can be literally for 20 days with them and you're gonna be brought back literally 2 hours later. Guess what? You may think it's 4 hours. I don't even know if it's 4 hours. Could be a lot more than you two were not even there.
Wow.
Because there's no time.
Yeah.
So that information, whatever was necessary for you to download and record, this is the only information you would have been given. Because the high consciousness, the extraterrestrials, they know exactly when is your time to tap in certain knowledge. That person may not be ready.
Can I ask why this is happening? Because the higher self of my client, you actually leading the process. I'm not the one leading. I haven't choose to go there. I didn't know.
Yeah, but you're part of the whole thing now. Once you tune in with this client, you're also part of that hologram with this client.
Yeah.
So if that client is not allowed to, from their guidance or something like this, to get the information the way it happened to me, it won't happen. The only thing you're going to get what they're going to give you. That's because sometimes, can you imagine if I came out in 2000 with Harmonic Reactor? I was not even allowed to talk until certain, for a year about what I knew. Even the information was given.
I see.
Or if somebody tell you like 20 years ago about parallel realities, you would think you're crazy. It was not the time. Collectively and consciously, you were not ready. You needed to gather certain information from different places in order to be ready consciously to hold the information, the vibrational sequence of that information, or will not make sense to you or will scare you.
Is this has to do with me or the client, actually?
With you and the client.
Both.
With both. Yeah, depending on the client.
I see. Very interesting.
Oh, and it's easier, they say it sometimes this way, because believe it or not, you gather a lot more information when you do that.
Sorry, come again. I didn't hear the last one. Sorry.
You gather a lot more information when you do that in your subconscious.
When they do it together?
No, when she popped out and loses this time, actually, she talks about 2 hours, but this could be 2 days. And because could be 2 days and you can be literally brought back into the timeline of Earth, and you will think that you missed 2 hours. You could have been there for 2 days.
Okay. Could it be, I'm sorry, but this is so interesting. So I want to know as much as possible. Could it be possible afterwards to feel like having downloads because of that?
This is exactly actually what was happening.
This is what I experienced.
Yeah, that's what I told you that.
Good. And it happened for days, actually, the downloads.
You open infrastructures. If you go above this reality, the information will come direct download. Remember when they were asking me about this, I just got a direct picture. I didn't prepare for that question, for that answer. I don't prepare for my stuff. I just come in and let everything flow because I'm extracting everything from the quantum field. That's the quantum telepathy that we all have. I'm simply showing everybody else how this could be done. So if I can do it, everybody else, because you guys are an expression of my consciousness. So if I can do it, I'm sure you can do it 100% the way. I'm just showing the path. And in the meantime, I'm learning from them whatever I need to learn. That's how it works.
Amazing. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you. Can you leave your information and website if people want to contact you because you've been trained from Dolores Cannon, how people can find you, because there's not a lot of practitioners that are really good with that do that. So please leave your information so we can post it.
I would love to. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, sure.
I'm based in London, in England.
Based in London.
But I would love to.
You can do it through the Skype, I'm sure.
Yeah. No, it doesn't work through Skype.
Still, I work with people from all over the world, so it's very nice to share information. And once we launch the energy philanthropy, with Joe, definitely you can leave your information there so you can tune in and help for people from your heart if you wish to do so.
I wish a lot, and now you bring another question. Like, I know because I follow you, the energy philanthropy, and if you can give some more information how we can actually apply it in this monetary world we are living, that we still have to pay our bills.
Yeah, it will be a transition time. This is the reason. Follow the way I did it, if you wish to, since you asking me. Remember when they asked me to do that, I had nothing in my hands. Literally, my husband was from a hospital car accident. My son was sick, and there was no money coming in. And I was literally thrown and they said, that's it. You're not charging. You're just helping people. If somebody wishes to do something, they can do it. And that was very scary. But I started using the quantum structure by 100% believing that everything I need, I have, without knowing to infinite number of probabilities what I'm gonna get. And I keep imagining that I have everything I need. I didn't imagine specifically money. Why? Because then I'm limiting myself. My gifts can come not only from money, can come if I needed a couch, somebody donated a couch. If I needed something, by the way, today, Cecilia, thank you so much, because I literally was doing something for my son. Somebody the other day literally donated something like that, and today something is happening because I really needed it. And they told me, stop worrying. In the meantime, my sessions are for free, my webinars are for free, but people still donate because they know I'm going through the process, me and Joe. Everybody does. But what we're doing, they gave the new platform, which we're going to launch, and I've been talking to everybody, that you, while you're paying your bills, whatever you do, can go in and donate your time. And why is fundamental for us to do that from our heart? Because you need to crystallize it in your consciousness in order for you to project it for your next hologram. How are you going to see fifth dimensional structure, absolute abundance and non-monetary? Because it's not needed, it's illusion. We all know that. You can build a society absolutely by helping. In Bhutto, Michael Tellinger is constantly talking about that. That's why I keep saying this name, so you guys know how we can do that. If the platform is already there, we can do that. But you gotta crystallize it. You have to start behaving in order to project it as a hologram around you. And if I throw you right into a society like this, I'm quoting what they told me, we're all gonna be worried how is this gonna happen. But if you start implementing it little by little the way I did it, you're gonna see the fruits of your manifestation, how you're gonna be supported through the monetary, but it's not only through money, through gifts. The couch, the car. Remember, I was telling somebody gave me a car, somebody gave me couches moving away, and the person was constantly traveling. So the couches was almost like brand new. So I got everything I needed. I didn't charge everybody so much money. It's an illusion. That's what I'm trying to tell everybody. The fear was getting it. If we stay in a hard structure, the hard structure is the new platform. When you start giving your services, you can come once a week and help somebody to do that. But when you see that joy from everybody, when you do that, the person's gonna say, oh my God, you're not taking anything from me. And you're gonna get that vibration of joy, that the goal is for you to collect that vibration. We are collecting positive vibration with people when you give something, because that positive vibration is your next shifting and creating the hologram that you're shifting into. And once you start doing it moment to moment to moment, it's you starting to get more synchronicity, that whatever you need is gonna pop out, the way we talk about this box. See how everything is fitting in now of today's webinar, everybody's question. The way it happened to her, something disappeared, all of a sudden appear. And she didn't know where it was coming from, but she still got what she needed from a different reality, but she still got it. The same thing happens. You don't know if you're gonna go to different currency. You don't know if you all of a sudden you're gonna have an extraterrestrial experience and do something different. Leave everything open and start giving from your heart to each other until we completely transition to non-monetary. Slowly make your sessions through the work that you do through the days, if you want to, pay your bills, and then come and tune in and start giving from your heart. Or Do more and more of that. But what's going to happen is more you give from your heart, more you're going to start manifestations from people just going to start giving you. When one person may not give you, the next person will give you double. If you need the money to pay for something, because I really needed the money to pay for something this time, and look what happened. So thank you so much, Celia, you know, but that's what happened. And I've learned not to worry, because it's literally before today, don't think that I'm not struggling with all this stuff. I do, because it's every day, but I'm controlling my thoughts and my emotions, and thanks for helping me. But that's what I'm doing all this.
Marina, how you're doing it?
Because I want to collect everybody's energy so I can project it in my consciousness.
That would be helpful to tell us, because you have done it. How you are.
Practice.
That's how I'm doing it. The day I start worrying, I said, oh my God, I have to. And they said, stop worrying, Marina. You know that you have everything you need. And all of a sudden, 5 minutes later, somebody donated $5, and I think it's for my books. Something like, when I see 5 to 10 to 20, I know it's for, you know, all of a sudden we got something for this webinar, you know, through Cecilia, you know, and I saw it and I kind of relaxed again. But before I did that, before when they told me stop worrying, I stopped worrying. I literally stopped saying, oh, yes, you're right. I have everything I need. I have everything I need. I didn't call for money. I just said that I have everything I need, because I want to open up the entire structure to infinite probability, something to come to me. Because I may not have the money, but I can have, for example, my mother-in-law came in, maybe something she can overhear and say, oh, don't worry, I'll pay for it. Somebody else can do it, because I kept manifestation in the manifestation process. When I was talking about it for the money that I end up paying, I was not even looking for it, like a hide and seek game that I was playing. I didn't find him in my pocket, but I said, oh, it's okay. I can pay for my bank account, because I knew I had another way. I'm going into the parking lot, I'm opening my card, and 50 cents is right in front of me. Literally hit me in the face, because I manifested it. But I didn't worry that I didn't have the money. I knew that maybe if I don't have the money, I'll say something. Maybe somebody says, oh, we need 50 cents, here we go. Because I literally end up paying sometimes for people $5 or $1 somebody was missing. And I end up giving them the money. I didn't want for anything. I start doing, in every opportunity I get, I start giving from my heart without doing anything possible to think, how can I do something so this person can have a session with me so I can make money? Because I didn't want it to project only monetary system. Remember, the money, it's a timeline structure. You can start manifesting anything literally in front of you, to pop out in front of your hologram when you need it. But in order to get to that point, you have to crystallize to learn how to manifest in the first place. You cannot do that, because that particular manifestation is 100% belief system. You don't believe 100% that you're going to get that right away, do you? So if you don't believe, even 1% is going to shift you off the 100% manifestation. That's why you don't get it. Remember, I was talking, I thought about my son and I needed $10. I literally popped out in my head. I get up and found the money. And yet your three-dimensional thinker will think that the money stays somewhere. So that's how you need all of you to look at this stuff. In order for you to have full abundance, we have to start doing this in a daily basis to each other. If you know that you have to pay your bills and you go through that transition, start 20 times a week. You do whatever you need to do to pay your bills. Once you pay your bills, start giving based on donations if you want to. But don't have expectations when it's based on donations, because you're still given a condition. Let it be. If the person wants to donate, let them donate. If they use you, it's not you using the person. That stays in their reality. Because who wouldn't have $5 to give you? But why is the reason they told me people don't want to even leave $5? Why do you think that is? Because your higher self already knows that this is an illusion. And even if you give $5, you feel that it's conditioned to you. Right there is showing you what's happening. Nobody's going to stop using you for $5. It's ridiculous. But it feels good when it's just like that. because your higher self already knows that it's an illusion. But in order for her to get into that, we have to start implementing it. No matter how ludicrous it sounds, it doesn't anymore, because whatever I say, you have the quantum structure. You cannot say no quantum structure. It's all right there in front of us. So once we know how to manipulate that, you're going to start to manifest everything the way the box with the box today. I forgot the name. Jennifer, I think, with Jennifer. That's what you literally did. That's why I was showing you one timeline, second reality, third reality, because you literally manifested the box. We can do that all over for any type of situation. Phone, money, couches, cars, anything that you can. Job. For job, the same thing. You have to believe 100% that you have it. And you're going to keep pounding on and on and on and on, even if you have to go to 100 places, because maybe you needed to gather certain information, or maybe whatever you manifested is the best way for the 100th person that you went to. So to give it the boss of what you wish to do. The heart structure is the highest manifestation if we stay on that, because there's no conditions in there. The only condition is to give through your heart without expectations, and everything else will go accordingly to it. If we trust that, I'm telling you, I'm living proof of that. Everybody knows that I had nothing when I started that, and people thought I was crazy. But am I crazy now? I love my craziness, because I know I'm giving you everything from my heart. The same thing with Joe. And it feels so good that when I need something, somebody supports me through that, I know it's from their heart without condition. There was no better frequency than that. And if we all do that to each other, imagine what we can create. Remember, everybody is creating their own timeline of reality. Why not create full bliss of abundance? Why put a condition through monetary? It's still not from the heart, except you're supporting somebody through their mission. You give something, but that again is a transitioning through the monetary. You support the people you love to do. You donate. Thank you so much for whatever you guys did for me, But in the meantime, it's constantly giving. I'm constantly giving. I don't know what is coming. I have no idea what is coming. I let it be. And that is the challenge with everybody, to let it be and start manifesting all the time, on and on and on and on. To stay on 100% belief system, because I did tell you this morning I panicked too. And then they kind of talked to me again for 2 minutes, and I switch immediately, and here we go.
It's very helpful that you have them with you all the time.
I agree with that 100%.
Room, Joe. Thank you.
Eleni, thank you very much for your questions.
Thank you.
We have time today, guys, so don't worry. We'll get to all of you.
Okay, the next up is, I'll call your name in just a moment. Elizabeth, you're unmuted.
Oh, I'm so excited to be here.
Welcome, Elizabeth.
Oh, Marina, we need you so badly. You're great. You're so informative. And it's amazing how I found you exactly when I needed you, like when I'm starting to see black holes, basically. I had a really cool experience, and you've kind of already talked about it, about shifts and everything that's happening. So you've kind of answered my question a bit, but I just kind of wanted to maybe ask it again. I've always had this issue again, like I'm in the spiritual world, and I guess kind of like fully embracing it. I haven't fully 100% done it, but I think I'm almost there. I think I'm at 95% right now, which is good. And so I had a reading done in 2013. And it was done by a lady in England who practices, Celtic, Avalonian energy work. And she also communicates with Palladians and so forth, and every being out there, I guess. And in that reading, it basically just told me about my life, what I was going through, start meditating, to start, experiencing my spiritual awakening. And I'm in a relationship, and that relationship might come to an end. So as 4 years have gone by, I printed up that reading. I had it copied in the computer, and I had a copy in my drawer. And so I would always refer to it, you know, and so I had it there. I had not looked at it for about a year. And so in the last year, my life has really changed a lot. I've been, you know, communicating more with all spirits, you know, Palladians, Avalonian, bringing in more goddess energy, like really with the feminine energy. So I've really awakened a lot, and I've done a lot of timeline shifts, and I've seen the black hole, and I continue to shift timeline. And basically now I've kind of reached a point where I'm confident and a little bit more mature. And so I went back this week and looked at the paperwork, and I'm reading it, and I'm like, oh, that's different. And I'm like, okay, where's that part about, you know, I need to grow, I need to evolve, and that relationship, like, where is it? So I go back to the computer, and I'm looking for this copy. I print it up, and I'm checking it out with, you know, comparing it to the one from my drawer, my night table. And I'm like, it's completely different. It was completely different. The paperwork, the reading was completely different. It was a reading from my current life, what had happened to me in the last year, my maturity, ending this destructive relationship I actually had talked to you about 2 months ago. And so everything basically changed on this reading, and that I'm going to meet a new, like a soulmate or whatever. Like everything is going to be better. I'm going to start, you know, manifesting my spiritual life and job and whatever. So I was like, oh my God. So I emailed this lady from England, and I asked her, oh my God, like, this is weird. My paperwork, it's completely changed. What happened? And she's like, I don't even know. She goes, it's just, you know, universal energies happen. And, you know, it happens to me through dreams. It's never happened to me through, you know, paper. So I was just like in awe, and I'm like, okay, obviously I've got this great force working with me. So I was just, you know, it's either like a timeline shift.
What's your question exactly? You want to know what happened? Is that?
Yes, that's the question.
The question is, you literally remember we talk about shifting through realities?
Yeah.
You literally end up shifting your timeline. Because whatever you were doing, you end up not only, remember there's a first timeline and the second one. The first timeline you were doing something, for example, you end up completely, you can shift with similar vibration. Well, when you do a lot of synchronized stuff that is similar in vibration, and you really raise your consciousness,
yeah,
you can shift into another timeline, not a parallel reality. Not only did you shift into another parallel reality, but that parallel reality is in completely different timeline. And that's what exactly you did, because you end up crystallizing it. And so you're not in the same timeline, you're in a completely different timeline of reality. And that's why no longer you see the stuff. And yet you simultaneously remember what happened before. So this is how you in the two places at one location. Basically, you know exactly what happened before. That's what you were looking for. So you basically literally shifted in completely different timeline. That's what happened to you.
Okay.
And you crystallized it. We do this. Well, thank you so much. That was interesting. But that's how it's done, people. So if you have a situation like this, like Elizabeth, make sure you understand that you literally shifted and crystallized it completely different timeline. That's in reality. That's why you don't see it anymore. If it's completely different than before. It's totally different. So it's not like very similar, whatever she was doing. It's totally different. That's the reason now. This is how you're going to see complete difference in the timeline.
Yeah.
Thank you, Elizabeth. We have 30 staff in chat room. I don't know if there's a lot of questions you did not answer.
Thank you, Elizabeth.
First of all, thank you so much. I learned so much from your teaching.
Thank you very much. And thank you so much for your generous donation today.
I'm happy to be able to give to you.
Thank you.
I have to say something before I take the question, because it came up while you were talking about the trust in the universe by donation. In August, I felt drawn into starting doing part of my work by donation, and it has kind of increased. So when I had new clients coming in, I couldn't force myself to say an amount. So I changed it into donation. So.
Oh my God! Thank you so much.
And I feel very happy about it, and I have actually a lot of clients coming in.
See, that's the first prime example, people. Thank you. Thanks for following through.
Last week I had a previous client coming in, and when I was going to charge her, I thought, okay, I knew she didn't want to choose the amount, so I just said the thing I used to charge before, and I tried to get through by the machine, the card machine. It didn't. I tried 3 times. Every time it said, "I'm sorry, the transaction can't go through." Was it them stopping me? Because after 3 times I said, okay, I have to admit, I am starting to do all my work by donation, so you can choose.
It was your guidance.
Okay.
Because you end up recalling it, you now start tuning into the stuff that I talk about it and you were thinking about it. So your desire was very strong to do that, because now you understand the quantum structure and why am I saying that and why this is not crazy, you know. But the only way for you to achieve that is by implementing it.
Yeah.
And your fear was the one that ended up bringing down, the way it happened to me this morning. So your synchronicity came from my synchronicity.
Thank you. But my actually question was, it's about numbers. I see a lot of numbers sequences, and I know they have a message to me. Like, so last week I went out to pick my card and I saw both cars on each side with numbers starting on 666. And I was looking at it and I said,
Why
oh,
is that number 2 with you? I didn't see 6, I saw 2, number 2.
Okay, but what I was thinking about was the 2 cars, and I was thinking that now I had to raise my vibration, not to come into something. So I did, but I would like to know if there is some way to open up the understanding of the numbers coming to me, because I know they have a message.
Yeah, they do message, but the situation with the numbers is, I was talking about this before, when you see numbers, and this is for every single person, is individual, you as a consciousness, as a soul, end up giving yourself permission slips, like a warnings, but that warning can be not because something bad will happen to you. It's simply giving you something is happening here, pay attention. So when you see the numbers, look at the surroundings. Where is the number? What is really happening? Is it sunny? Is it dark outside? And then after you see the numbers, see what's happening after the numbers. What's happening that day? Because I've realized for me, every single time I see garbage truck, I end up in some kind of a situation that is not very challenging situation. But then I've realized that it's not only the garbage truck, but also the color of the garbage truck. Because I start paying attention and say, what's going on here? Every single time a garbage truck comes right in front of me, something is happening to me. Because I saw that pattern. And I start paying attention. Then I've noticed if it's a green, something is happening that's not really nice. If it's red, it's maybe less. And when it's white, it's just something that just stopped me for a little bit and something like that. So I've learned the colors. So every time now I see a garbage truck, I know I gotta pay attention because something is happening today. And I've learned that because they didn't tell me that, but I've learned that. But I'm telling you, when I ask, when people ask, that's what it is. So when you see numbers, when you see situations, could be material, could be somebody saying a sentence to you, pay attention. Because it's usually a permission slip from your consciousness to give you a like heads up what something is about to happen, pay attention, get ready, you have a test, for example.
Okay.
something like that. And every time you get the challenge, remember your hologram. What can I do to switch to a different reality? And every time through the heart structure. The heart structure, because that is going to be the next vibration that you're going to shift into. If it's through the heart, this is going to be a positive outcome. Even if you don't see the positive outcome yet, you construct in a hologram. Remember, whatever you do, you construct in hologram. Step by step by step, you want to crystallize it to become very potent so it can stay in a timeline. That's what you're trying to do. You're creating two different timelines, constantly the same thing on and on and on and on, because now this is a timeline. You not keep shifting from one to another like this. Remember this one that we were doing? It was constant shifting. You want to be steady. So your final outcome is positive.
Yes.
We talk about that and it's all in the quantum manifestation. So everybody that is listening to this stuff, go back in the quantum manifestation series because it's complex. This is not stuff that we can just remember. One of the bylaws, they will repeat it to me 15 times because it had to be crystallized. It's so out of the box what we're talking about. So we need to crystallize it to understand it. Thank you so much. What a wonderful. I'm so happy. Thank you. Thank you for following. It's my pleasure. Thank you very much.
Love your teaching. Can I say one thing more? It's about the hypnotherapy.
Yes.
In London.
Eleni.
Yes.
Eleni, yes. I'm going to London tomorrow. I had a grandson today.
Oh, congratulations.
I would love to keep up and have a session with you.
Oh, Eleni, see how it works? Why don't you two connect? So find information.
Cecile, if you look in the chat box, you'll see Eleni's contact information. I see you nodding. Very good.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, you guys have more questions?
Yes, but before I go on, when you were talking about the numbers and seeing them, somebody asked, what if you see them in your dreams? What's that about?
The same thing. Remember, the dream reality is the same reality as this one. There's no difference in it. The only thing is another pamphlet of reality. The only thing you think is different because the way your consciousness, somebody told you that is that, but actually is another pamphlet of reality that you exist in, and you can do lucid dreaming because you know it's a dream and, oh, I believe 100% I can do anything. Well, what makes you think that you cannot do 100% in this reality? The only reason is that is because somebody from the society ended up telling us that we do not. And we don't have the abilities to do it. In actuality, we can do exactly the same manifestation we do in a lucid dream. But we believe there that it's 100%. We don't believe here is 100%. And this is the reason why you don't have an instantaneous manifestation. That's why we need to crystallize it and take a step by step to do it because it's the same thing. So whatever happened in your dream is because it was easier for you and your consciousness to implement that. Because you relate to it easily. That's the reason why. So for your particular consciousness, for your particular level of understanding, this was another permission slip to give you a connection. Now try to implement that in this reality, in this hologram. Because they're running simultaneously. Okay? Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Marina. Let's see here. Oh, Cecilia said she wanted to send you some dough via PayPal. And I explained to her that you get it directly, and I don't know what your PayPal is. Did you want to share that?
Website, anybody that wants to donate to me and job for the webinars is, we totally appreciate your support. It's on my website, marinajacobi.com, and you just donate in the PayPal, and I always share 50-50 with you. So thank you very much.
Oh, somebody asked some kind of conspiracy theory stuff. Mind if I ask that?
Oh, okay. Let's see.
All right, here we go. This is from Deborah, I think. It says, right now there's a lot being revealed about what's happened for years in the film industry. Is this just a distraction by deep state? If so, what are they hiding? Also, will fluoride in the water, geoengineering of our skies, and the corruption that has to do with Monsanto become known to the masses? I could add Big Pharma and the children's and the child slavery issue too. So, do you have any comments about that?
This is a very good question. Thank you so much. I know a lot of people, my suggestion also to that question, Joe, if you can please add holding the positive frequency. Marina Jacobi, holding the positive frequency, as soon as I answer that, because it's all there how you need to hold the proper vibration, because we're going to talk about shifting of the timelines. Remember, it does not matter what somebody else is doing in a hologram. As long as you keep the heart frequency and you start doing positive things with your thoughts, with your deeds, moment to moment, because you're going to crystallize a timeline, that negative structure no longer exists because they're not matching simply the frequency resonance, whatever you're creating. So all of a sudden you're going to see the change into infinite probability. Remember, we talk about infinite probability of how things can come, that all of a sudden you're going to see freedom for humanity. You're never going to know where it's going to come from, but all of a sudden you're not going to see chemtrails. For example, somebody can say, we discovered this person did something like that, and you're going to see you're already seeing the collapse of the system. It doesn't matter what they're doing. We said it's always going to end up in a positive right now, because consciousness itself is an ascension process. As long as you stay in a heart structure, you're going to see the collapse of negative structures, negative systems. I'm not judging what they do. It's their belief system. The way they were taught, the way they created their ego, persona, and everything else is important. What is important for you to stay in that structure, to stay in a positive. Because what you're going to do, you're going to crystallize a timeline that no longer that. So you're going to start seeing the same thing happen with the people in Hollywood. All this stuff that's happening with little children. You see how this person came out and said about different individuals in Hollywood that they moguls and they do all this stuff. You're going to see it in the banks. In every level of society is going to be a collapse. And why is that? Because they no longer withhold the structure of positivity, the one that you are projecting. And you're going to see the transition of all this stuff. You're seeing it at every level. So I wouldn't take it as a negative. I'm going to take it as simply a transitioning time. And your goal is to constantly hold and project the positive frequency from the heart, the way we talk about, by giving. The way Cecilia ended up doing, I decided to just do by donation now. I decided because she's transitioning now, she wants to do that. If everybody start doing this on daily basis, do it once, do it twice. You don't have to do it. If you pay your bills right now in transition, you pay your bills. But after that, do something like this. This is how you're shifting. Where no longer you will be a chemtrails. That's because you're not tuning your consciousness into, and you know 100% that you're moving into a new reality. So all of a sudden you're going to see somebody blew the whistle of whoever did it. Could be the banks, could be any type of institution. So tuning into positive structures, you may be aware the way we end up talking about cryptocurrency and the AI, but you can choose which one of these realities you're going to shift into by you holding certain vibration. Could be negative, could be positive. You can choose what reality you can create yourself. But what's happening here from the higher consciousness, from the universe, the vibration is rising more and more and more. So that's why you need to stay tuned in most of the time, and whatever you need to do so you don't miss, because more and more somebody is giving you vibration and you're rejecting that and you're tuning into a negative, for example, you're not going to be able to integrate all this new frequency that is coming, because it's just so powerful. You cannot just take a very powerful pill. You have to slowly take and take and take. The way you detox, for example, you cannot just go at once. You have to slowly integrate so you don't shock your immune system. We're not talking about immune system here. We're talking about consciousness here. You don't want to shock your consciousness, because if right now, for some people, the extraterrestrial just pop up in front of them and they don't look very humanoid, you're going to be terrified. because it's not integrated in your consciousness. You're not familiar with it. That's why everything that we talk about here slowly starting to integrate, especially through the quantum structure, because when something happens through timelines, you're not going to be confused what's happening. The most important thing is staying a positive, and all other realities with all this is happening is going to disappear, and you're going to shift into a completely new different timeline that all this negative stuff structures does not exist anymore. This is in quantum manifestation series. My suggestion is to go back on my website and you have quantum manifestation and just watch it again. Thank you so much for your question. Very good question.
This question came up earlier and I didn't ask because we kind of got offline, but this person is persistent and I appreciate persistence. So I'm going to ask this question. This one is from Dejan Bosevec. He says, how does one listen to one's heart? How to hear the heart's voice? That's his question.
Wow, what a good question. Well, they said, he's talking about his heart or somebody else's heart?
Presumably his own. In other words, if you're suggesting to people to listen to your heart, he'd like to.
My heart. Well, they literally said you are the heart. So listen to your thoughts. Remember, you are the entire universe and you are the entire structure. Guess what? My heart ended up talking to me. When they end up switching, and we say, give me that and give me that. This is what's happening. Because the heart itself is the structure itself. So talk to your heart. And listen to your thoughts. Remember these thoughts that are coming to right away? You know, they're literally before your three-dimensional brain starting to override everything. So start talking to your heart. Have a conversation. Don't think that it's crazy. Literally start talking to your heart and call in immediately the answer that is coming. You're literally going to have a conversation by yourself or yourself. But remember, you are the entire universe. So even when you're talking to me, you're talking to yourself through a different holographic expression. So start talking to your heart and listen to immediately what it's going to tell you. That's how you connect. And it's not only the heart. This could be, you can talk to any part of your body. You can go into your DNA. Imagine your DNA, go down to your DNA, and you can reconstruct your DNA. Follow your thoughts and follow exactly. Go into your DNA and you can reconstruct. Look into your heart. Talk to your heart, say how beautiful you are, put health in your heart, visualize it how it's vibrating and is very beautiful, that is very healthy. And you have to believe 100% that this is your heart. And then with the 100% belief, take an action towards proper diet, proper behavior, start giving from your heart. And that's how you tune in. I'm telling you everything that they taught me and everything that I do in a daily basis. And that is the challenge, to be steady with that thing. I also tell you when I'm not very good and when I make mistakes, I also tell you that because that's my struggles. That's how I do it. You have to control your thoughts and emotions and deeds in a daily basis. Thank you so much. Very good question.
Okay. Thank you. Next up, we have Jennifer. Jennifer, you're unmuted. Welcome.
Thank you. Actually, that kind of answered the question I have, but what the question is that I just manifested a puppy, and there was a specific type I wanted, and I had been looking around trying to find exactly what I wanted, and I said, oh, forget this, I'm just going to manifest what I want. And I did exactly, and he came like a month later. Why is it? Is it because of the love and emotion that I feel for animals that I was able to do that so easily versus trying to manifest a car, which I don't have an emotional attachment to? But why was that so easy where manifesting a car is not?
Because the animal is a living being of a specific structure and vibration. And the car is simply a need that may be connected to your ego. You have to peel all the layers. Why do you really need a car? Do you need specifically this car? Because remember my video with the BMW that I crashed the BMW and how I started showing off, you know, without realizing with my keys, you know, because it felt good, and I had a argument with my son, and that I wanted to replace to feel good. So that was my replacement, even was so silly. But I've realized what I was doing. So make sure that your desire is because you really need it, not because you want it. It's not wrong to ask for something nice, but it's really because you really need it or because you want to show off with it. It's very thin layer between the stuff. We got to understand that. It's very, very easy. It's like very sneaky, actually. It sneaks out to you like a virus. And by the time you realize what's happening, it's full blown. You know, that's how it happens, because it's step by step, little by little. Oh, you feel good. Oh, let me fill it up again. Let me do more of that again because it makes me feel good. And you start replacing something material with the one because the puppy was from your heart. And the car has different vibration. It's not really from your heart, is it?
No.
Be very honest. Because only through the honesty, when we put the honesty why we really need certain things, will be the one thing that we basically gonna find out. Once you find out the core of all that, now switch it. Now transform it. And if you need a car, maybe you wanna see, do you really need this car, or you can do something else?
Well, that's what is kind of funny, because the last thing I really need was another puppy. But I was allowed the puppy. But I think it's
the
just...
puppy needed truly love. The car really didn't need a love, is it?
Yeah.
Even is a part of the structure too, but remember, it's a different type of vibration.
Uh-huh.
This from the puppy is through the heart.
Okay. Exactly.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much. Very good questions, guys. Joe, we have more. Vaughn, I want to thank you so much for your donation. Thank you very much.
Danza Cosmica wanted to know how to notice the difference between mind's talk and heart's talk. What's the difference between your mind talking and your heart?
Wow, such a good questions today, people. Oh my goodness.
And I have a few more. I've got like 5 more, Marina.
All right.
I'm ready to hang in there as long as you are. So.
We're fine. We'll definitely honor everybody today because you have time, and as long as we're not pressure, you know, everything is fine.
Okay, no pressure, people.
Okay. So the difference, such a good question. This is very confusing with everybody, to be honest. Everybody. Now, the heart, everything from the heart is no condition. Everything that makes you feel very good, all right? When you know that when you do an action, and when you express yourself through action and your thoughts, remember your thoughts are vibrations, and even you don't tell to the person, they still end up going into the quantum structure. So don't think that you're not doing anything when nobody hears you out loud. You're projecting it into the quantum structure. So that's why watch your definitions of your thoughts, try to control your thoughts. It's a lot of work. I never said it's not a work what we need to do. It's a lot of work. Okay. What's happening here with that is also, so when you make the person feel very good, I'm telling you, I've done this and I do this all the time. I've been in a store and I literally hear something and I just choose to go and help the person. And I sit with that person for half an hour. The joy of that person, to me, the fact that I just took my time and end up teaching them something without any expectations is priceless. You get and you start feeling a vibration and you're really feeling it. I've done it all the time. When I talk to you every day, I do this. And you get these goosebumps and is a certain that's a vibration. If you feel these goosebumps, almost like it's starting to get your hair, like, and you feel like from the whole body waves of energy, trust me, this is exactly the frequency that you are getting. And the exchange there is the highest frequency you can possibly get, because you've been given without any expectations, and is no, it's the highest consciousness is resonating on that. And that's how you manifest the best. And more you do that and stay in that state, more and more you're creating a timeline of bliss and abundance and manifestations of everything you wish to do when you stay in a positivity. What's happening here, when you start learning this stuff, you're gonna feel, remember I was talking about the sixth sense, you see somebody and you're gonna feel something is off with that person. You know something is off, you don't know what it is. Listen to that, because it's coming from your heart. Your heart and your higher consciousness already knows that something is happening. You don't have to know what exactly, but always be aware. But what's happening is you may see somebody really very well dressed, and the talk is like, oh my God, it's incredible talker. In the meantime, in their personal life, they're very rude to people, or beating their wives and anything. I can tell you about situations right now in communities that it's one thing they say is something completely different, and it's shocking what's happening, but it's a transition time. So all this, it's coming on the surface. So when you hear something like that, that person could be very well dressed, but if you hear about that and you know, you get a thought that something is off, listen to it. Do not start overriding it now from your brain of what you see, that the person is really dressed very nice and talk very nicely. But in the meantime, you had the first feeling that came in that something is odd with that person. Listen to that, because everything else is based on that belief system from TV, from your ego. Because you end up creating that if you really dress very nice and if you're really a gentleman, you're a very good person, you're a very good soul. Guess what? The deception in a lot of people in society is right there. They learn how to present themselves. In the meantime, they disguise in their true persona, who they are as a soul. So you have to make the difference. That's why you need to listen to your sixth sense, and do not let your brain of what you see, maybe very good looking person, very well dressed or something like this, to disguise what you're really feeling from the heart. That was actually the manipulation. Because, you know, a lot of, for example, big singers, that they are very popular in music and they're so good looking and so, you know, cool. In the meantime, you go ahead and you end up beating up your girlfriend to the point that she was deformed. That's how you know, so listen to your heart first, listen to your sixth sense. The first thought that comes in is what you need to trust. And I've learned that hands-on. So overwrite that thing that comes through the mind. Because sometimes you want to believe just because of what you see visually. And actuality is from your heart. All the stuff that we're doing right now, we're learning to go back into the heart. The highest vibration and the highest manifestation is through the heart, because there's no condition. It's to infinite amount of probability of manifestations with no conditions what you want to achieve. So do not overwrite with something visually that you see, because some people are incredible, or some situation looks so beautiful, and in the meantime, you knew at the moment you saw these people that something is off. Does that make sense to everybody? I'm sure all of you end up going through something like this. Yeah.
I didn't unmute everybody, but I get this collective sense of people nodding their heads.
All right. Yeah, I saw also, yeah, I saw Jesse also did it.
Okay. I have a question from Teresa. I'm going to unmute you, Teresa.
Celicia, thank you so much for your donation, Celicia Thompson.
Cecilia?
Yeah, Thompson. We had two of them. We had two Cecilias today. So thank you so much for your gifts. Alexia,
Okay.
so much. Oh my God. Thank you guys. Thank you so much for your support. Alexia, thank you so much.
Teresa's question was, it was relating to something you were talking about earlier, but I'm sure that you'll be able to tie the two together. She asks, so should we get involved in this society, per se, buying a house, investing in the markets, etc.? In other words, is it worth it to do it within the construct as it exists today, with the promise that maybe it'll shift and change? Or should we not participate in the way the world works today?
Very good question. I had a very big lessons from them. If you guys remember how I had friends of mine, because they supposedly know certain people, they were calling me, they were telling me, Marina, the system is collapsing, you better invest in this money and you better invest in that money. And I end up in panic. If everything else I've learned, I panic and I said, oh my God, what's happening? And I want to listen what my guidance was teaching me. In a quantum structure, you can manifest anything, right? When I didn't have money, my son needed, I get up and literally pop out in front of me. But I took everything through fear. So I start, literally, what happened was they taught me a lesson. Remember the BMW lesson? Now I got another lesson from them. Because I went in so much fear, I usually get lessons from them physical. So they told me, okay, go ahead and put in a bank account $500. Oh no, take out of the bank $500. Then with $200, we need you to go and buy this and buy that for 2 weeks food. Here I am running like a crazy person, getting the money out, preparing food and putting dry food around because the system is going to collapse, you know, for 2 weeks they were telling me. Well, nothing happened. And I go, okay, so now I know that they proved themselves so much for me to trust them. Why would they do something like that? But what happened was, they said to me like that. And I'm saying this example to tell you exactly, because that's going to give you the idea exactly how they taught me. That is an illusion. If you perceive that information and you panic, what are you doing is you're lowering your vibration. And once you lower your vibration, anything that exists in a negative structure that is implementing obviously something to manipulate humanity, you actually end up tuning in the negative structure, because your belief system of fear end up dropping your frequency from the positive of the heart into the negative. So now anything that exists in another timeline of reality that is implementing systems like this, you end up catching, because you're still staying on a vibration of fear and you're taking action through the fear. So what happened is I end up listening to somebody and I'm saying, wait a minute here. I said, you end up teaching me, and this happened second time when nothing happened. You know, I said, okay, I didn't listen, right? Second time this is happening, and here I am, they did this to me second time because I wasn't getting it. I was staying into fear. So they did this to me second time. And I'm going, oh my God, what's happening here? But while I did it second time, I prepare money again. I put money again second time, because they tell me, no, this is for sure something is happening. And here I am now, I'm doing it second time. Because, you know, that was for sure. And this was from the hybrids. And if you remember, the hybrids told me 2 years prior to that time what's going to happen to my family. So I trust everything I said, because everything happened. So here I am now, I'm doing everything, but I was listening, somebody was talking about realities again. And I was sitting in the car picking up my son, at that time was at school. And I'm saying, wait a minute, I said. I can manifest anything I want in my hologram. Why am I, if I can manifest anything in my hologram, why am I taking money again? And why am I doing this again? I was complaining now. Why are they making me do this if I can shift to any type of reality? And they said to me, oh, finally you get it. How many times we have to teach you a lesson in order for you to understand that you don't have to do this through fear, because at the moment you take an action through that fear, you end up crystallizing this reality. Does that make sense to everybody? You're going to tune in into a timeline that things like this exist, and you're going to project it and eventually to become a reality for you. So your action should be from your heart because you really feel like moving, or you really want to do something else, or you want to move to a new house. Is nothing wrong, but do not move and do not take an action because of fear that something is happening. At the moment you start doing this, you drop in your frequency and you start projecting completely different realities that all that exist. Stay in a positive. You may hear cryptocurrency, you may hear everything. You may hear AI. We discuss fifth dimensional AI, which is from the heart. Why not tuning into this? So what you need to do is to believe 100% that the positive frequency of is there, and you manifest everything in 100%, and you stay in a positive no matter what you see somebody is doing. You stay in a timeline of a positive. Even if you lose something, do not worry, because that could be a transition. Remember, the toughest part here is for these teachings is to stay in a positive. That's why I'm giving you examples how I end up dropping my frequency today by fear. And I switch my emotion into positive, and I said, oh, I have everything I need. Why? Because I didn't want to put a condition in my hologram, and I didn't want to drop my emotions and frequency so I can create something that I don't want to. Shift your emotion and your deeds, whatever you do through the day, into the positive, and do not take an action if you want to move whatever through fear. If you're going to take an action, let it be through the heart, because you really feel like doing something nice, doing something different. Is nothing wrong with that. So if you learn to do that, that means you have to learn to shift your emotions. Remember, pull out, give a gratitude of everything you have, and now transform your emotion into positive by knowing that you have everything you need, and take an action to that vibration now, to that level of feelings. That's how you're going to take the action. So you're shifting from the negative to the positive, because you end up, that is very good. If you end up recognizing your fear, that is perfect, because your consciousness is telling you, oh, you end up shifting your vibration into a lower frequency. That doesn't mean it's negative frequency. Your consciousness is showing you that you end up dropping, you end up shifting. Because negative, what is negative? If some people feel that they need to destroy somebody, this is their belief system. They don't think it's negative. It's just simply a different point of view. So energy is energy. But you, from your belief system, recognize that you end up dropping it. Well, shift it by your deeds and by your emotion, and take an action towards somebody else or whatever you want to do. So if you move, please do not move because of fear. Move because you really feel like moving, or because you want a bigger house. Yet, why do you want the bigger house? Because the family is big, or because you really want a better garden? Think your definitions. See, always peel and always search your ego. Why do you really need to do that? Once you stop peeling off, your honesty towards yourself is the biggest thing that you can do, because your honesty is going to show you exactly what you've been doing. And once you get to the bottom of that, then you start doing the shifting, because it's going to be very clear for you which way and when you want to do whatever you want to do. Does that make sense, guys?
Okay, I have a few more questions, and here we go. This one is from Tony. He asked me to ask it on his behalf. He says, I need help shifting out of tiredness, dullness, and a scattered mind to move towards more clarity, joy, and a joyful frequency. What do you have to share with him on that?
Oh, thank you. Yes, thank you so much. Very good question. Now, remember, your consciousness is projecting also frequencies, what you project in a holographic field. So sometimes it's very difficult for you just to meditate all the time, that, oh, let me just meditate and be in a positive. When I was very upset one time, I literally extracted myself from the situation, removed myself from the situation, went ahead and listened to somebody else's video. So when you end up in a situation like that, when you know that you have a difficult time just to sit down and meditate, do something physical, like watch a movie. But when you watch a movie, pick up a movie that is positive, that you know is going to make you feel very good. For example, the other day I was watching Stargate with Kurt Russell. Even they talk about the entity that Ra, keep in mind that Ra was not negative entity, okay? But they were implementing that movie that Ra was negative entity. That's not the case. But the reason why I was watching this movie, because it was showing me extraterrestrial, it was showing me Stargates. And I was seeing how they discovered the Stargate, how they moved to another reality. It made me feel very happy. I stayed in a very positive frequency. And I was aware that whatever they were talking about, Ra, was not the reality. So the whole time I felt, so if that is not the thing that you want to watch, then put a nice music. The nice music that you're going to discover that it resonates with you, when at the moment you start listening, you get a goosebumps. When you get a goosebump, this is the highest frequency that your consciousness and body resonates on. That's how you know. So I'm giving you exactly the platform how you know when you resonate. The same thing with movie, the same thing with somebody when you see somebody makes you very happy, your heart, your consciousness, higher self is literally showing you that person is resonating with you. That's how you know. So in order to do that, put yourself in a constant motion throughout the day with something positive. Watch something positive, listen to something positive, and do something positive. Do something simply because you want to make somebody smile. Remember the video, the stuff that I was in a mall and I saw this lady. I felt that she didn't have money and she was watching in Victoria's Secret these perfumes. And you know, of $10 or whatever. I was sitting with my friend Diana. I said, Diana, let me show you now how you can do goodness. See what we're gonna do. We're gonna get energy. I literally went after her. I saw the lady on the side and I went ahead, because I pay close attention what she liked. I went ahead and I bought for $10 or $11 it cost me to buy this little spray that she liked. And I wait for her outside. When she walked out, I went to the lady and I said, Merry Christmas to you. That lady almost fell off on the ground because she could not believe what I did. And then she saw what I got for her. And she almost started like in tears, went inside to tell him what I did. But the reason why I did that is because I wanted to stay on a positive frequency. Just her reaction was the frequency I was getting. And that's what I want. And I got in goosebumps like that. This is the little things that we can do for each other, for strangers, for anything else, because I'm telling you, this is the highest resonance. That's how you collect the positive frequencies. So if you do that during your day, when you're sad and when you drop something like this, always take an action to something positive so you can stay in a positive frequency. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Marina. Okay, the next question is coming up. And by the way, thank you, Tony. I appreciate you asking that question.
Yes, thank you.
The next one is from Cecilia. We have three more. Cecilia is...
Hello.
Cecilia, there you are.
Thank you, Joe. Hi, Marina. It's just very quick questions. There's actually two of them. And one of them is in general. I have information that I've received in my dreams. And the problem is that when I wake up, I can't remember. And I know there is a lot of information. It's like downloads. Is it because I don't have the frequency for it or not ready for it yet? Or
no, not because you don't have the frequency. This is how now you're giving yourself a permission to connect to another level. But my suggestion is do lucid dreaming. I was talking about lucid dreaming so you connect, because you can do a lot of lucid dreaming before you start doing this. But you can do it simultaneously. So the way I did with lucid dreaming, I found a book of Nick Barrett. And he's also on YouTube. And I bought his books and I watched his videos. Nick, N-I-C-K Barrett, B-E-R-R-E-T, I think, double T. and it's on YouTube. Put Nick Barrett on YouTube, Lucid Dreaming. And I think I also have his book on my website. I think you can buy it from my website store from there. I think I have his book. Oh, yes, I do have his books. So I
Nick Barrett.
My website store.
Okay.
So it took me 2 weeks to train. I was training. And I ended up waking up the second week lucid. And it's very easy. Make sure you don't panic when you wake up. Stay calm, because then you can pop out of the reality and wake up. But every time I woke up, I opened up a portal. I knew immediately to open a portal. I wanted to go to the spacecraft every single time, and I was not allowed to get into, because I had to do it through this reality, not, they said, because remember I was telling you lucid dreaming is like this reality, but not a pamphlet.
Yes.
But sometimes it's challenging. So if you want to tune in, learn lucid dreaming and see what you can do to it, because maybe this is your permission slip. So you can start doing that, because maybe you decide with your guidance to connect with them that way.
Okay.
Okay.
Sorry.
So explore that. See how that is going to go, and don't give up, because for me it was 2 weeks, for you could be 1 month.
Okay.
Don't give up. Just stay. The best thing I can give you advice when I was doing that, I know the suggestion was to every 2 hours, you put the clock and you wake up. Make sure that the clock doesn't scare you. Make sure you put very low tone, something that is not going to stress you out when you wake up. And you have to be in a state still of sleeping, and have a notebook, and you got to write right away. But what I taught myself, the way he suggested in another video, to train my brain to know that I'm going to wake up in the middle of the night. And when I woke up in the middle of the night, I still remember that. And I end up right in my dreams.
Yeah.
But then I end up waking up lucid.
Okay. My second question is, I did have a regression with Dolores Cannon technique, in which the higher self spoke to me and told me everything that will develop as a transformation. It's just said that the information was very powerful and it was coming. And my question is, I thought about becoming or taking the technique myself. My point with all of this is that I want to help people, and I want to do it since I learned and I saw you right after that. I met you through online. I want to do it that way too. It's not about the money, it's about giving. Yes. Thank you. Actually, my question is, should I actually pursue something like that, or simply just wait until things develop through the higher self until I get ready? Will that affect it or interfere with it?
Very good question. When is the manifestation for you? When is manifestation?
It's been a progress, I guess.
No, manifestation is in the now.
Okay.
So why do you need to know for later? Then you can start implementing it in the now. Accordingly to that vibration in the now, whatever you project right now, your next hologram will end up construct. So whatever the vibration of right now you're doing, this is your next shifting. So why not do it now?
So I don't have to wait.
You have to believe 100% for that. But yet, if you need to gather information, I mean, don't wait for later to, for example, 2 weeks to get something. You can start tuning in, you can start learning, you can start exploring at the moment. And you have to believe 100% that you definitely know how to do that. You know how to do that. If you, the reason why this is already, you the second or the third person tell me I found you literally after I did that, that's because you end up resonating in my frequency. That's the reason why you found my material, because you were ready for the quantum structure. If you were not ready, I will never pop into your reality. So you end up searching the entire to infinity holographic expression of the universe and you found me with this material, that's because we're running in a similar resonance. That's the reason why. So your manifestation is now, so when you want to take an action, don't think that you're not ready, you don't have the abilities. No, you must know that you have the abilities and take an action towards it. Because there's no way that you don't have the abilities. Why? You're the entire structure. You're the one particle. And from your own structure, you project in every single one of us right now. You're talking to yourself.
Okay. The higher self, it said that I will help people by talking to them. And when I see them, and I will see everything in their face, from their face like symbols, and I will interpret them and will help them to guide them to their right path.
Yes, because you're going to see patterns of geometries structure. That's why.
Okay.
You're going to read it right away. Every face is a specific pattern and is also geometry and says specific code. And what you're going to be doing, reading their code, is going to simultaneously knowing. That's quantum knowing.
Okay, because it says I will see it all, present, past, and future. It's all there, and I'll be able to guide them.
There's no time, everything is in the now. So all these channels of that person that is running, you're literally gonna see it simultaneously.
Okay.
Every single one of us right now is living in a different place in US or England. How is it possible that we're talking at the moment at the same time? See how everybody is running in a different timeline of reality and everybody has their own parallel reality, and yet we're coexisting in the zero moment. Because right now you're seeing simultaneous multiple parallel realities that we are talking to in 1 0 point. So here's your hologram of multiple realities at the same time running. Does that make sense now?
It does, definitely.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
I indicated an order, so I'm going to go back to Elizabeth. Elizabeth, you're unmuted. If you can ask one question, we can get through this and save a recording. Thank you.
Hi. I just had a question actually about ascended masters and on your opinion, because I've heard so many, stories that there are the good ascended masters, and then there are some that are all have been created by, I guess, higher beings that don't have good intentions. So I was just wondering
Very good
what
question.
your intake is on it.
In a universe, everything exists. The negative and the positive exist. They're simultaneously running. Okay, energy is simply energy. Depending on the point of view, you see the stuff. Because if you are born in a family that's saying that people are animals, in specific bloodline that you are running to, for example, if you're only Bulgarian, the way I'm Bulgarian, only the Bulgarians are the best in the world. And then you're gonna think that and that's being indoctrinated to you, you're gonna think the rest of the world is like lower than you. So how can you blame a consciousness like this when it's obviously being implemented? Now that consciousness may learn certain lessons, but yes, so there's different realities. But remember, the different timelines of reality. One could be negative, one could be positive. Depending on where you're switching and where you go, everything exists in the universe. So, but if you stay in a negative frequency, basically, if you're not nice to people, if you did very negative stuff or you accumulated through different realities, negative structures, then you're connecting with the negative entities that they exist in the universe because you resonated in the negative frequency. Look at how many people today end up finding me because I resonated in their frequency. The same thing is happening with the high consciousness or with the entities that basically are operating in a different structure. Because they're recognizing who you are and they know that they can exist in your structure, so they can overtake you. They can do anything that is possible because you end up allowing yourself by your actions, by your deeds, to end up in a situation like that. Or simply you accumulated so many negative lifetimes of basically the stuff that you did before, that now you have to come in this negative reality to learn so you can go into the positive. So everything that you accumulated, you got to learn that it was not the right thing to do. You have your lessons, and if you pass your lessons, you graduate and you move into a higher realm and higher, because you need to learn your lessons. You cannot just skip from first grade and graduate. You have to go. So think of it as a graduation. And every level there's something different. How would you know how to manipulate positive, negative when you don't know the difference? If I just put those two symbols for you, for example, which one is positive and negative for you? Somebody, you're not going to know because nobody gave it the definition. Well, in a universal structure, in a universe, this doesn't matter. It's simply symbols of energy. But guess what? Once you give a definition, and if I tell you this is positive and this is the negative, then you're going to know that this symbol is in a negative and this is in a positive because I gave you definition. Until that time, was simply energy symbols for you. So that's how it works. So once you start doing this stuff, you have to understand that the extraterrestrials, there are different entities of positive or negative, but you will see them depending on how you vibrate, whatever you accumulated, and whatever you chose to experience, so you can learn the positive and the negative. How are you going to learn how to interact with people and how to connect to people if you don't know what is to be abused, what is to be in the street, what is not to have money? How can you relate to the person in order to be a master? We become masters. All of you, when you choose to go and follow the path of energy philanthropy, is you becoming a master of teaching somebody else of all this stuff. How are you going to do that without knowing what is positive and negative? So yes, there are positive and there are negative entities, extraterrestrials. Higher consciousness is different. Above the extraterrestrial races, there's a higher consciousness running. And that's why higher consciousness, which is connected to the heart and the whole consciousness itself, can override somebody's bylaw, timelines, and agreements, including for the extraterrestrials. Anything that happened, they're working together with the ETs, because the Council of Nine, you guys know that is above ET, you know, they're working together, and the decisions that were made, they will say, oh, we had a meeting and this was what we'll talk about. And they would tell me what they talk about, what decision was made. It's all collaboration. But when I'm talking, because, you know, for example, this is the high consciousness there, and I'm here, you know, on Earth, what's happening here? Am I not connecting to timelines with them, and they with them, and it's back and forth? How many different timelines I'm connecting at the same time? For me, this is 3, but could be multiple. Everybody is doing the same thing. When do you think when you have lucid dreaming? This is not coming from your 3-dimensional. This is coming through another pamphlet of reality. How come you're dreaming? That's because it's simultaneously running these realities. And you're tuning into. So don't even think that you're not talking to them, to higher self or higher consciousness. And when you see something that is negative, transform it. And I'll give you an example. I had a dream. In my dream, I saw a very big, scary snake. At that time, they were teaching me all this stuff. But for some reason, I've realized that if I take the snake and I hug the snake, instead of fighting with the snake, I end up transforming the snake to me loving the snake. And the snake became very little baby snake. It was so cute that I was holding it in my hand. And I love that little snake. And I did that in my dream. That's how you transform everything. So it doesn't matter if you see a negative structure. Project positive at all time, because negative structure cannot simply withhold the positive frequency that you're going to be giving on and on through your heart constantly. And all of a sudden you're going to transform, and you're going to not only you're going to transform this entity that you're dealing with, but you're also going to shift to another reality of a timeline. Was that clear enough, or was it too complicated?
No, that was clear. I actually feel them coming in through my heart. So I guess that's the way I've been able to distinguish what feels real and lovable to me. I guess that's the way I've done it.
So you're already learning how to just get to this point very well. And then you're going to start listening to all of you. You're going to start listening to thoughts that coming in. So now you got to learn how to trust your thoughts. So not to override with the brain, but the first thought that comes in, you need to trust that thought and see how it's going to implement for you. Is this whatever I heard is becoming true? And that's how you're going to know how you're tuning in, because some people tell me, well, I hear, but it's not coming true. Well, don't override it. Try it again. If the first thought, you ask a question when you meditate, write it in a book immediately what the answer is. Don't try to override it because of your belief system. Even if the answer is so crazy, because remember, the Harmonic Reactor in the nanomaterial was all downloaded material. That must have been completely out of my mind then, because this was all new stuff that I never even heard of. So let it be, let it flow.
Yeah, don't stop it.
Thank you. Yeah, don't stop it.
Yes, makes sense. Thank you.
Oh, and by the way,
Thank you, Elizabeth.
wanted me to mention that if you hear negative thoughts, transform it by neutralizing it. You're gonna say, thank you for showing me that you hear. I've done this. I was thought about that. Transform it into negative to a positive by giving a gratitude to say, thank you for being here. Have a conversation without judging, without saying, oh, you stupid, you can't say this to me, no matter what you hear. Once you stay in a positive and transform and say, thank you, I love you, no matter what you hear, I know I'm positive, I know I'm loved, and you transform it, that's how you transform it. That's how you stay on a steady frequency of positivity. Okay?
I have a very important question from Vladimir.
Okay.
Vladimir says that he has a friend who's been in the hospital for 2 years. So he'd like to know, how does his friend currently in the hospital talk to his muscles that are not responding to lifting his leg due to some neuropathy?
Very good question. They're saying is not through the muscle, is through sequences. The brain is not giving a specific frequency vibration to tune in with the muscles. It's shut off. So it could be a brain stimulation through specific frequency, but I cannot give you the frequencies because it has to be very precise and it has to be literally done through a team of somebody that knows how, like a scientific team that knows how to tune in. That's the problem I have. If I had a scientific team that knew how to do stuff, I can do miracles because I can measure all that. He can go and meditate when he gives a command specifically on the area by transforming it, by knowing that it's completely healed. And they said it's going to be difficult for him because he has to learn all that structure that I talk about in order to 100% believe that he can do it. And you can go inside your also DNA and your consciousness and give a command to switch it on. That's what it is. So I know I'm not very clear about that, but actually you gotta trust your consciousness to go in and literally rebuild your muscles. I've done this with my DNA to move to water. I did that and I know this working, and everybody can work. That's what I'm telling you. You can talk to every part of your body, and yet you can heal your body through the frequency of the heart. It's in a harmonic reactor, but I need a scientific team for that because it really has to be measured. For that particular team, yes, it's doable, but it has to be absolute specific frequency to turn it on. And actually, you can rebuild the muscle through a specific frequency. That specific muscle that it's not working has a specific vibration. You need to find the tissue vibration of that muscle to rebuild it through frequency. I know this is totally possible. They're not doing this through frequency and vibration. You can rebuild any type of molecule, anything you want to. I know it's possible. I know the technology exists. And I hope that this pops out, and so we can all rebuild whatever we need to rebuild. You don't need to find another liver or another heart. You literally can rebuild it. Literally can rebuild it. You don't need metals in your body. You can rebuild it. Thank you for your question. I'm sorry I cannot be more specific, but I'm telling you this is how it could be done, and I don't know if he's going to be able to have the ability to find people to do that.
Okay, Marina, thank you.
Thank you.
I have this from Roger.
Hi, Roger.
Last night, instead of going home, I sat outside a petrol station. That's a gas station here in the U.S., listening to something on the internet. Today, my son picked me up in his car, and we parked in exactly the same place for about the same time. Is it something neither of us? It's something neither of us would ever do, and it seems funny. Is there a profound meaning behind this?
Yes, it is. Thank you, Roger, for your question. Yes, it is, because right there is how it's showing you the synchronicity telepathically. I've done this. A lot of us have done this. This is how it works. You really don't need the phones and actually to do that, by the way. This is what I'm talking about, how technology is just a very good tool that we got to go through. But in actuality, your own consciousness can set up this with anything. You can talk telepathically to anybody. You can bilocate. You can literally meet with somebody like that. That's because it was showing you absolute synchronization in your frequencies and your desire to meet. And that's why this works. In consciousness is a perfect synchronicity. There's no mistakes. So thanks for your question.
Okay. I also have one from Alex. Says the scenario my family is currently in would have frightened me, maybe as recent as a year ago. Now it's a feeling of confidence and that I have what I need. Does that mean I'm getting it? In other words, he's not as bothered about his circumstances as he might have thought he would have been.
And yes, very good. Thank you. Yes, and yet you can completely let go. Remember, you can go and transform now, and you're going to go and think that your family is really good, that you're having a good time. Make a movie in your mind, like a script of your family and you, and how everybody is interacting very nice with each other, how you guys understand each other. And I want you, when you make that movie scenario in your mind, in your consciousness, to believe that this is 100% true. I want you to feel the vibration, how much you love your family, no matter what they've done, because what you will try to do is to shift yourself and to have completely different outcome in a positive with your family, because your family is not going to be your family. You actually end up creating a new hologram, new timeline, and you end up imprinting the images from your consciousness from your family. I talk about this stuff a lot of times. So tune in with transform everything with your family. And that's for everybody. You can transform everything every time like that. By 100% believe that this is true. Remember, the 100% is the manifestation in the now. I want you, when you do this stuff, guys, to feel 100% that this is true. Even if you see that still is not change, remember, you need to crystallize it. You got to make it very potent. Even if you keep coming in the negative, you keep transforming and transforming and transforming, overriding it constantly with a positive, because if you think of it, if you think that reality with your family, that everybody is looking very nice and everybody is very nice to each other, loving each other, that means that this timeline of reality already exists. You end up finding it and extracting the information out of it. And not only this, you end up creating it at the same time because there's no time.
Beautiful.
Thank you so much. We talk about this in a quantum manifestation, mobilizing structures. Part 2, I think. That was part 2. So look into these videos.
Thank you, Marina.
You're welcome.
Okay, everybody. We've been on for 2 hours.
Yes.
We're going to have to call it here because I want to make sure that this recording actually gets saved. I want to thank you all, one and all, for joining us. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for your donation, guys. We truly appreciate your job. Thank you.
I'm going to unmute everybody so you can say goodbye.
Thank you, Marina.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome, guys.
Hey,
Bye
thank
bye,
you.
darling.
Bye-bye. Thanks so much.
Thank you all so much. Thank you.
Marina's work is brought to you through generous donations. If you would like to contribute your support, you can visit www.marinajacobi.com. Also, be sure to scroll down on the homepage and join Marina's mailing list so you can keep up with her latest activities.